family-owned shop in Loganville, Soesby's Garage for all your automotive repair needs. We service all makes and models, foreign and domestic. We repair engines, alternators, brakes, alignments, AC systems, and more, using certified technicians with over 90 years of combined experience. We also offer same-day service for some repairs. Soesby's Garage, 200 Bay Creek Road in Loganville. Dependable, honest, and fair. Look us up on Google or Facebook. We'll take good care of you.
Broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio inside the Sonesta Gwinnett Place Atlanta Hotel. It's time for Case in Point, presented by Paradigm Security Services. We are the cornerstone of security in the Southeast.
Hey everybody, welcome to Case in Point again, presented by Paradigm Security Services. I'm your host, Rick Strawn, the president of Paradigm Security Services, and we're excited to be with you today on Business RadioX. We're broadcasting, as always, live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio, located in the beautiful Sonesta Gwinnett Place Atlanta Hotel here in Duluth, Georgia. In addition to Paradigm Security Services, this show is also brought to you by, as you heard, Soesby's Garage, and also the Manna Scholarship Fund. Check out Dr. Jeannie Burnett and her show on alternate weeks from mine. Awesome show, great information. On every show, we feature businesses and organizations in the Atlanta area, especially those that serve Gwinnett County. And while all businesses have security concerns, not all are about physical security, and we'll touch on that and other related aspects of security through the course of these shows. Be sure and hit that subscribe button for me so you can keep up with all that's going on, and we'll take keep you updated on all. Our guest today is kind of an interesting guest, although, of course, all my guests are interesting. But I've got Mr. Danny Hamilton here. A lot of you may not have heard of him. A lot of you probably have, but you're going to hear more of him, especially after today's show. But Danny is the owner of Star Coaches Incorporated. Danny, great to have you here.
Great to be here, sir.
Star Coaches is, how many buses you got now?
We run 61 coaches.
Wow, 61 of these huge coaches. And they're all over the nation. And I like to always start with a little bit of about you. Who is Danny Hamilton? Where do you come from? What got you doing what you're doing now? And kind of give us the short scope of who you are and what got you here.
Well, Danny Hamilton is a part of John Hamilton, my dad. And so basically I was raised in Tifton, Georgia. Left Tifton at the age of 18 and been on my own pretty much ever since. I've done a lot of things. I've been an entrepreneur for 45 years because of my dad, actually. He always wanted to be an entrepreneur. He was not able to do it, but after hearing him his whole life, I decided to go that route when I got able to. And so I've done a lot of things, but the bus business is something I kind of stumbled into 31 years ago, and I haul rock and roll entertainers, rappers, country artists, a lot of corporate work. I work with Disney. I've got to work with a lot of great people, and I'm just a kind of what you call an old country boy with a 12th grade education and a lot of common sense, which I got from my dad. And it's been an adventure life. I'm 67 years old, and I'm looking forward to living to be at least 100.
Well, and living proof that you don't have to have that 4-year college education to be a success in life, which a lot of people tend to forget.
Yes, sir. It's a big deal now. I really think probably technical schools and things like that is the future.
Absolutely.
Because you can learn a good trade, and there's good money out there.
And you don't have all the debt that goes with them as usual.
Yes, sir.
Well, you do a lot of the rock stars and all that kind of stuff. But one of them, in which, by the way, if you ever need security, that's
yes,
what
sir.
we do.
Yes, sir.
That's what we do. But one of the things that's probably the most interesting out of all the things, at least to me, and this is my show, so I get to do it, is the Trump bus.
Yes, sir.
And it is, for those of you who haven't seen it or haven't paid any attention to it, which I can guarantee you if it's been in your vicinity, you've paid attention to it. But you can go online and check this out under Danny's, under Star Coaches and all. But tell us about the Trump bus. How did that come about, and what got it started?
Well, I've been living that dream now for 5 years. It came about so simple, and I think that sometimes it's so simple that things in life happen that can be that simple. But I was sitting in my office, and basically somebody in the office asked, could we turn on the TV? I'm pretty strict about TVs in the office, but because they want to watch Days of Our Life or something like that. But so they said, can we watch Trump? He's getting ready to announce. And I said, sure, let's turn it on, you know. So he was announcing, and I was not seeing the screen because my desk doesn't sit in front of the TV. And I heard him talking, and I'm like, you know, just kept working, and I heard him talking more and more and more. And then he said America first, and that caught my attention. And then I kind of moved away and walked around and started watching the interview and listening to what he was saying. And I felt like he was talking or saying just like what I was thinking. So I was like, but you know, it's a weird world now, and you got to be careful in how you walk and talk and hold your mouth.
Breathe.
And that's not the way I was raised. And, you know, we flew the flag out in front of the house, and my dad was big, you know, loved the military, supported the police, you know, one of those kind of guys. So that's the way I grew up, working hard, seeing my dad work 100-hour weeks and, you know, grow a garden and playing in the woods and creeks and things like that. That was the best life, man. I wish all kids could live that way.
I wish they could do it today.
But then I stood up and walked into my booking agent's office and said, I want to wrap a bus and support Trump in Georgia. And he looked at me and he says, we're kind of sold out. I said, well, let's just pick the oldest bus I have, and when it comes open, he goes, well, I can move things around and we can make one bus work. And he said, it's going to cost you a lot of money. And I says, well, I think I've done pretty good. So I said, I don't think it's about money anymore. It's about our country. And I knew I was going to get some slack from it, you know. So I said, let's do it. And I called and made some calls. I had some connections. I made some calls and got in touch with the right people, got permission to wrap the bus, and I think came up with an idea, obviously red, white, and blue flag, Trump's picture on the side, and then pretty easy, Make America Great Again on the side.
Absolutely.
And the adventure began, and I did that, and just thinking I was just going to drive the bus and ride around. And so after I had it done within 7 days after I heard Trump announce, and I decided I'd go out and drive the bus, and I left my shop, and I was just going to do the 285, 66-mile run around 285 and just see what the reactions were. And I started driving down the road, and then I noticed cars behind me, and I just kept noticing more and more cars behind me, and I kept thinking, when are these guys going to go around me? And I dropped it down about 60, 62 miles an hour, and the cars were not passing me. So they kept following me, and then I drove about 30, 40 miles, and some of these same cars were following me. So I decided to exit off at an exit I was familiar with and pull into a Walmart. And when I pulled into the Walmart, within 2 to 5 minutes, there was 400 people at the coach.
That's awesome.
And I was like, holy moly, what have I got started here? So everybody was like, hey, can I get a Trump hat, or do you have anything? And I'm like, I had nothing. I had a bus.
Coming soon.
Yes, sir. So I realized what I had there, and I saw the people, and then I put it together, and then just started going, and everybody started letting people know about the bus, and then everybody started calling for it. Can we have it here? Can we have it here? And I did all of this out of my pocket. I mean, I did every bit of this out of my pocket, and I'm way in deep in this project, but I feel like it was well worth it. And so we just started doing everything. And as you said earlier, there's a lot of people that seen the Trump bus, and I didn't do it to be recognized. I just did it as an American citizen wanting to help save this country, and I felt like Trump was the way to go. And it's caused me a lot of grief, but at the same time, I felt really good about what I've done, and my children and my family. And
I think that's what's important is, you know, how do you feel about what you've done? You know, we all know about derangement syndrome, and just everybody, so many people that are just so against it. which, you got to wonder why he's just preaching pro-America.
Yeah, they didn't grow up like me.
No.
They're against it. They didn't grow up like me and you. I mean, that's we grew up in America, man, and
so you're going to run into this kind of stuff. And so, to hell with it. Do what you want to do and do what you think. This is all about, personal, ability to make decisions and choices that seems like everybody preaches, but nobody wants to let you do.
That's true. And then as it started growing, like I say, the list just kept going and events kept going, and I just kept going to events, and just it got to the point I literally could not stop the bus without. I would get run off at parking lots. I'd get run off at Walmarts, whatever I started, because it would get to the point. I'm not exaggerating here. 1,000 people could be in the parking lot in 30 minutes, and then it started. I would stop to get fuel, and while I was fueling, the manager would come out of the QT or wherever I was and say, "You need to move the bus. We don't have nowhere for people. People are getting jammed up here." And I'm like, "Sir, I'm just trying to get gas, man. I can't help that they're stopping for the bus." And
get over it.
Yeah. So that went on forever, and we just kept going and going and going and going, and and then I started coming up with ideas because what I was seeing. I started doing Blue Lives Matter stickers and thin blue line stickers, and then I got the thought of, okay, all military. So I went online and checked, and all military, anybody is serving first responders, everybody has a line. Mm-hmm. So I printed out thousands of them, and a buddy of mine's a big Trumpster, and he owns a wrap company. His company's called Enormous Wraps, Mark Rowe, and so what he did, he had a lot of material left over, so he just started making these stickers for me. I sent him the page with all the colors, and he just started making me thousands of stickers. So
awesome.
We would hand those out everywhere we went to people, especially people in service that had lost family members and things like that, and Make America Great stickers and Trump 2020 stickers, Trump 2016 stickers, and we just gave all that stuff away. And it was just it just felt great. And I met so many families, and what I saw Trump do, that I saw in the beginning in 16 was he was bringing families back together. I had so many families because they get to tour the bus, and so many families would come up, and I'd be like, well, have a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, or 4 children, and I'd start talking to them, and they would go like, he's helped bring our, we've had some issues, and he's helped bring our families back together, and I just kept rolling.
Well, I want to throw something in here because I know that you have really spent a lot of money doing this, and it's all been out of your pocket.
Yes, sir.
And I know that there's supposed to be a fundraiser coming up. Is that still on? I know it was put off because of COVID.
That was my good friend Ron Goodbud.
Correct.
Ron Goodbud is one thing about being a Trumpster, and it's happened to me is I've met some of the greatest people. Ron being one of them, and
he was on here last week.
Yeah, and he came up with it. He's just a great guy. If you don't know him, you should know him.
Absolutely.
But he's worked his butt off his whole life. He's in service. He's done so many things, and just a heck of a guy. Well, he got COVID, and he'd come up with this idea, and he wanted to do a fundraiser, which is, I'm really not into that. I've not ever been a guy. I've never been on unemployment. I've never taken any money from the government. I've just worked hard all my life. So he was like, I know you don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. So he set up this thing, and we're going to do it. And then he got COVID. Literally almost died. Ron's an old school guy. He ended up just staying at home and kept thinking he could take aspirin and all this kind of stuff. And it almost cost him his life.
It kicked his butt.
Yes, sir. So he got done. He got well. So, yeah, we are doing something. He's re-announced that he wants to do something on September 25th at the Star Cafe. I have a little restaurant at my bus company. It's 2051 Marietta Boulevard. And we have a big flag there on the corner, so we're kind of known as the red, white, and blue corner because everything around there's red, white, and blue, along with our 20 by 25 flag flying above the building. And so he's come with a new date, September 25th. We're probably going to be from 10 to 4. And obviously I've invited a few speakers. Some lady, her name is Marjorie Green. Never heard of her, have you?
I want to get her on this show.
Marjorie's a great girl. I tell you, I met Marjorie before she even announced the run. She was just a big Trumpster. She rode on the Trump bus. She would show up at events. I took her to a couple of events on the bus with me that we were invited to go to. And then she she got the fever, and she actually announced that she was going to run, and I was behind her all the way, and supported her, and literally donated buses to help her out.
Well, as the old saying goes, and I really don't think that Marjorie will have a bit of a problem with me saying this, if there was ever anybody that had a set, that woman's got a set. I love it.
You wouldn't want to mess with Marjorie, man. She's tough, and she works out like crazy, and she's just a great person, family person.
What she believes, she puts it out there, and she does not pull back.
Yeah, we probably text each other a couple times a week. I mean, we're actually very close friends, and she
tell her I want her on this show.
I'm going to let her know. I will let her know that, and we'll make that happen.
Awesome.
I'm pretty sure I got that much pull. But there was a lot of other people. But Ron is one of my great friends. I've met Ron, and he's doing this thing for us, and we're hoping it will help us out a lot. I mean, we're kind of running by the skin of our teeth. We used our PPP money, and I've been on unemployment. Everything. My son works with me. He's been on unemployment. We finally ran out of that, so now we're using PPP money, and I had a party bus company. That's how I got started in this business in 1989. But I've lost my party bus company. I'm not going to be able to recover the party bus company, so we've put all those buses up for sale. And I've ended up I've sold now 3 of my entertainer coaches, just trying to keep books up. And so, Ron's doing this for me, and I'm going to let him do it. And September 25th, we're going to have music and probably some political speakers there, and it's going to be a fun time. Bikers for Trump will be there, and we're expecting a big crowd.
Well, I hope I can be there. I know it's tentatively scheduled to go down for my CPEs for my certification for security. Naturally, that's my birthday week, and it's scheduled to go down to Florida to do this in Orlando ASIS convention, but I just may have to put that off.
Well, if you can be there, we're going to have some good barbecue and southern cooking, coleslaw, potato salad, and probably some banana pudding and peach cobbler.
Sure beats sitting in a seminar all day, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we have a restaurant there called Star Cafe. It's a little restaurant that I've had for 20 years, and it's on the property. And so we'll be working out of the Star Cafe, and, we're open Monday through Friday, 6:30 to 2, breakfast and lunch. And so we do a lot of barbecue, so I got a big barbecue grill. So we'll be, serving some brisket and pork, and that we're gonna have food. I think Ron told me everybody just does $10 a head, and it's all the food you can eat.
And any extra donations anybody would like to make will always be appreciated.
Yeah, yes sir.
Well, I think it's awesome that Ron's gotten together and is working on trying to help you out. First time he told me about it was back really before he got COVID.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about it and talking about getting you on here and talking about promoting this fundraiser. And it's just been an awesome idea from the beginning as far as I'm concerned. Well, you've kind of, one of the big things you're into right now is the Real America's Voice. Tell us what Real America's Voice is and how that's associated with everything else that you're doing.
Well, what happened is after Trump didn't lose.
After he just didn't.
He didn't lose.
Yeah.
Trump won. There's no doubt about it. I'll believe that to my death. I might even put it at the bottom of my gravestone. Trump won.
There'll be a lot of gravestones with that stuff on there.
Yes, sir. But we got kind of shifted on that one. I'm going to stick with mail-in ballots caused Trump to lose, and it was all a plan. And more and more we hear about what's going on. We're seeing that the COVID was really a hoax. And I think even early as yesterday they came out saying that half the cases were false. Some tests they were given, they were false negative or something like that. But I don't even stay into that anymore. I've actually turned off all TV and everything. I don't even have any cable at my house now. I'm literally just living. Yeah, I'm just living in a cave, but because I can't stand to hear the lies and the fake news. But Real America's Voice. What happened was I gave it about 60, 70 days before I pulled the Trump rap off, and I was going to put 2024 on it and just keep going, but it's a ways out. I wanted to wait and see.
You wouldn't want to agitate anybody.
Yes, sir. It's really bad. So I was pulling the wrap off, and I put it on Facebook, and I got a call from a guy that I actually met 5 years ago, a guy named Jeremy Harrell. He's a hip-hop Trumpster. He's kind of a white rap guy. And Jeremy used to be out along with a guy named Ben Bergeron, which is a guy from California that 5 years ago was walking around with his phone out in front of him reporting the news. And Jeremy has built a very big, podcast. And he called me and says, "Hey, man, I want to go to CPAC, and I want to wrap the bus and put my name on it, Save America Tour, my name, and so on and so forth. And what do you think?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, let's think about it." So he goes, "I just want to take that same wrap you have and just put Mount Rushmore on the side of the bus and my name and Save America Tour. We're not going to put," well, actually, he was going to put Trump on Mount Rushmore. And I said, "I don't know if we better do that, man."
It might deflect your message.
Yes, sir. So we didn't put anything about Trump on there, but when you see that bus, you know it's all about Trump because it's the flag and it's America. And so he called me, and then we got the project started, and then all of a sudden, Real America's Voice was in touch with Jeremy. And they liked the idea, so they said, "Let's stick our name on the side of the bus, and we'll split the cost with you," which actually I had already donated the coach, so there really wasn't any cost. So he goes, "Well, all we got to do is pay for the wrap. Danny's giving us the bus for free." So I did that, and we went down and did that job, and I brought it back to Atlanta, and they were like, "Well, that was awesome." And so I said, "I'm just going to leave the wrap on the bus." Normally we'd pull the wrap off, but I like it sitting out front of my business and presenting America. And so I left the wrap on, and then about 2 or 3 weeks later, I got a call from Jeremy going, "Hey, man, Real America's Voice really liked the reaction they got from the bus, so now maybe we could go to the border and go to McAllen." And I said, "Yeah, we can do that." So we went to McAllen. That was our first little gig. And
it's a hell of a place. I've been there.
Yeah, we saw it firsthand. And we saw everything, and I saw what was happening, and now there's over 1 million across the border, and that's an impeachable defense in my mind that our president should be impeached. Period. 1 million illegals across the border, and believe me, I'm like Trump. I don't have a problem with opening the gate and coming in legally. But that's the way I feel, and this is terrible. But so Real America's Voices jump on, and Real America's Voice is pretty much they're just what I say about Real America's Voice is just real news. Really, is that they report real news, probably just like you do. And I'm not real familiar with your station, but they don't.
It's all real.
Yeah, it's all real, and it's not fake, and they don't make up things. You can fact check pretty much everything they do is fact check, so they try to make it all real. Ben joined that. Bill and Beckeron joined their group, and Ben was also a guy that started just in his backyard. So it's a family affair. It's a Christian channel. The guy that owns the station is Rob Sig. He's a Christian man. All of his employees are just great Christian folks, and that made it good for me. I'm a Christian, and I really blended in very well, and so we've just been out riding around and checking it out. And, my goal was to hopefully rent them a bus for a year, like do a yearly lease with them. And I think we're real close to that because they see just how big the impact the bus can be.
Well, I know that, you mentioned McAllen, which is, I'm from Texas, so I know exactly what that's all about down there. But, you're constantly going. I think you're just up north. You're just back down in Florida. Tell us a little bit about your recent travels.
Well, we took off. Let's see where, man, I have been going. It's funny how you almost forget where you've been. But
believe me, I can imagine.
Well, Jeremy was wanting to do town hall meetings. So he wanted to do town hall things. So he started doing that. And that's another thing why Real America Voice got in, because they really Jeremy needed their help, obviously, with all the, stuff you got to do to set up a studio. So they got involved, and we've been going. We've gone obviously to McAllen. We've been up to Michigan. We've been to Illinois. We've been to Wisconsin. We went to the rally up in Cleveland, Ohio. 30,000 plus at that event. A great speech by Trump. That was his first one I'd seen in a while. He was a little rusty. But that only that one, and then we ended up going down to Florida to his last rally last weekend, and he nailed that one.
Back on track.
He was back on track after one, and the numbers there, as I was walking out, I got a report of 42,000 plus on 4th of July weekend. So Trump won. It's that simple. And I'm headed out. I'm headed out to CPAC this weekend. Trump's going to speak there. He's also doing some announcement today from somewhere. We might find out something. I don't know. But we have a lot of stuff coming up in the future. And like I say, I'm thinking I'm getting close to a yearly lease with these guys so that they'll actually get a bus and wrap it. And because my goals are to wrap another Trump bus and support him until we get him back in. So there's all kind of stories out there. You hear all kind of things from everybody. I've met Mike Lindell, which he has his story, and he spent a lot of his own money to try to prove some things. And I've talked to him, and I believe him.
That's another man I wouldn't mind having on.
He's easy.
We can do these Zoom.
Yes, sir. He's easy. He's really easy to get. We can probably try to. I can't promise you nothing, but I can definitely ask that. And I got him on a couple of other shows just by, telling him about it. And he's a busy guy, but he loves to talk, man. You only ask him one question, and then you
just sit back.
The show's over, man. If you got a 30-minute show, you get 1 minute.
That's okay. He's got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about.
Yes, sir. He doesn't waste any time.
Well, Jamie Harrell. Tell me a little bit.
Jamie Harrell is a phenomenal guy. I mean, I've got to meet Jamie. I met him years ago, but Jamie's got his own podcast. He's got, at one time, he's been shut down from Facebook. He's totally banned from Facebook. He's banned from YouTube. He had over
conservative, I think.
Yes, sir. He had over 400,000. He had 400,000 folks on Facebook. Followers, and they just cut his throat, and he had to start all over again. So, very Christian, just got 5 children, a wife, loves his family, loves his country. I tell you, I'm just, like I say, I've met so many great people through Trump. And Ben Bergeron, Christian man, love him. He was just, unfortunately, Ben was supposed to be with us on the road, and actually he had moved from California to Arkansas, and they were cruising the property, and I think his wife was driving a golf cart, and unfortunately had a bad accident, and it flipped over a couple times, and his wife was hurt pretty bad. She's going to be okay. She's in a wheelchair.
Not a lot of protection in a golf cart.
Yeah, just turned the corner too fast, not used to it, and flipped over, and Ben got a bad cut and on his foot, but his wife took the blunt, and she was. I think someone told me yesterday just did an interview with him from their home in Arkansas on Real America's Voice, and everything's going to be okay, but she's going to be down for a little while until she gets back up. But Ben's a heck of a guy. I used to see Ben walking around in California. I go, man, how does he do that? Because I'm figuring he's going to get shanked or something, because he stood up for the president, but. He's a big guy. When you meet him in person, he's about 6'3" and a big physical guy, and you'd think twice about jumping on him.
Well, good. People have got to be able to stand up and say and speak their mind and speak their positions, regardless of whether you're on the right or the left or where you're at. People in this country, it's all about being able to speak your mind, speak your positions. I don't have to agree with you, and a lot of people I don't agree with on a lot of things. Generally, there's something in there somewhere that we can agree on, but whether we can or whether we can't, I'll fight to the death for your right to stand up and talk about it. It's amazing how the other side right now on the left is more about shutting people down than interacting and engaging.
Well, I definitely have seen that in 5 years. I'm like you, man. That's exactly what you just said. And I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't met one person. I haven't met one person that I could talk to. I mean, as soon as I start saying something to someone, I'm a racist.
Exactly.
And they don't even know my name. And I've been greeted stepping off the bus hundreds of times that I'm a racist, and people in my face. And I'm like, would you just go to my website and look at the people that work for me? I mean, I have 4 Spanish American, 2 African Americans from Africa. I have black employees, white employees. I mean, I have all their pictures on my website. I didn't hire them because
they have
color.
no clue what it's just a rote word now that's on that. It's lost all real legitimacy in a lot of ways because it's now just a term that people throw out there to try to shut people up. Half of them don't even know the difference between bigotry and racism.
No, sir.
Everything's racist.
I was born in the projects in the 50s. I'm from Tifton, Georgia, so unfortunately I lived on the south side of town, and most of my friends were, believe it or not, I'd say when I was growing up playing baseball, football, when I was a little kid, playing in the projects. I'd say because I was on the south of Atlanta, I never quite understood that as I was growing up. As a kid, I always felt like Forrest Gump because all my friends were black, and back in those days, there really was only a black and white country. I mean, you didn't really have such a mixture of people, especially in Tifton, Georgia, population 1,000 people. That was our population in the 60s. So, that's just how I grew up. So I didn't, when I was 7 years old, I was standing on a milk cart washing dishes at a cafe or a restaurant in Tifton because my dad's sisters worked there and he had to work, so they were babysitting me in the summertime. And they'd say, Danny, you can wash some dishes. So my good friend Essie Mae Gaskins, which was a girl I lived with in the projects, she was one of my friends. Her mother worked there as a cook. So me and Essie Mae would sit and wash dishes side by side. And, that's just how I grew up, man. I never knew about what's going on in this country today. Is just nothing I was ever grown up with.
It doesn't resemble anything most of us grew up with. It's crazy.
It's a new breed. It's a new something, whatever it is. I like I say, 5 years out there and the cursing and they don't even care if kids are around.
Yeah,
I mean, I can have 2-3-year-old kids standing around there just like F you and saying terrible things and just doing the finger thing and I've had fathers just totally almost lose it because someone would be acting that way in front of their children that literally had never heard that word.
It's nuts.
It's terrible, man.
Well, you've got Star Coaches is basically you're still in business with Star Coaches, and it's primarily the music industry, that type of stuff. Yeah. And if somebody wants to get a hold of you and talk to you more about whether it be Star Coaches or the America's Voice or Trump Bus or just really anything, maybe even having a bus tour of their own or wants to know where you're going next, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, they call me at 404-925-3893. That is my cell number, 404-925-3893. I'm not scared to give it out. My office number is 404-364-0177, 364-0177, and that's been my office number. Actually, that was my home number in the 80s, and I switched that to my office number when I got in the bus business. But they can call me about tours. They can call me about corporate work. We do anything corporate. Unfortunately, with the rock and roll tour buses, you can only seat about 14 people. But I still do stuff like racing. I take people to races. I actually take people to Braves games. If it's 14 or less, they can ride in a limousine style bus. It does have the sleepers on it, but people seem to like that. They feel like a rock star for a little while.
There you go.
So, but we do everything, man. In the beginning, when I started the company, I said, if you can imagine it, we can do it at Star Coaches. And that was on my business card for years. It still is. So if you can imagine it, we can do it. But sometime it has to be a group of 14 people or less. So you want to go to Kentucky Derby. You want to go to the Masters. You want to do anything like that. That's what we used to do on our party buses. Now, the party buses could seat up to 28. And it was a rock and roll tour bus with no beds on it. That's how the idea started. I rode on a rock and roll tour bus, and I thought, man, if you take these beds off, you've got a rolling limousine with a bathroom, and
rolling party.
That's how it got started. And so, if you call me, I can tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to continue to support Donald Trump. I'm going to continue to believe in America. I'm hoping that we can get this country back in order. Right now,
pretty chaotic.
It's pretty chaotic, and if you've been to the border, the numbers are over 1 million now.
It's a disgrace is what it is.
And like I say, people might think or hear me talking right now and think that's bad, what I'm saying, but that's just not, it's not right.
We're based on immigration, yes. We're based on legal immigration.
Yes,
You've
sir.
got all of these people that are standing in line trying to do it the right way, waiting for years, and now we're just opening the gates and say, y'all still got to stand in line, but we're going to go ahead and if you really want to get in, just forget the line, slip around, go into Mexico, and then come across that way. We'll get you. We'll get you all in line.
I got a gentleman, Mugaduga, that works for me. He was from Africa, and he came to America and literally worked for me the whole time he was trying to become an American citizen, and basically become an American citizen. I went down and was there when they swore him in, and it took him about 7 years.
Exactly.
You can do it a lot faster, but it does cost you a little bit of money.
Yep.
And so you can spend a little money, but I got 4 Spanish Americans that work for me that basically actually within 2 years they become American citizens because you can do it as fast as you want.
Yeah, as fast as you're able to focus.
Yes, sir.
So, well, listen, Danny, it's been absolutely I could talk to you for another hour on all this stuff, but I guess we better close it out. We've been here a little over half an hour, but, it's been great talking with you and you're a man of principle. And that is a good thing nowadays, to find people that have principles and actually stand behind them and don't mind speaking about them.
Well, I got 3 children. They all, 2 girls and a boy. I met my wife at the inauguration. I was not planning on ever getting married again, but I met my wife at the inauguration. I actually took 6 buses to the inauguration when Trump was inaugurated, and signed up people to go, and we put 12 people per bus, went up, stayed in an RV camp.
Awesome.
And she signed up. She was from Noonan, Georgia, and so she signed up. She was actually from Sweden, and she loved Trump. And she came over to America. She was actually on the left, but she realized she needed to get on the right, so she did. And so we met back then, and so my son works for me for over 18 years, and it's a family thing, man. I'm just a family guy. I believe in, and I just take care of all my employees, and I try to do everything I can. As an entrepreneur, you just love making jobs. It's hard to explain to people sometimes. They go, man, you walk around like I wear shorts and T-shirts 365 days a year, and I don't care about all the glam. I just want to make people jobs, make people money, make sure my kids have something when I go, because I didn't have anything.
Well, and you're like my business. We look at it as a family.
It's a family.
And if you don't look at it as a family, you're really missing out on what it's all about.
You look around America, and I've been around it quite a bit now, but if you look around America, and I meet people all the time, and if it's a business, there's usually somebody in that family working there. If a man started it 30 years ago, the only reason he might not have a family member working there or a child working is he don't have any.
Exactly.
But he's going to have a cousin there, or he's going to have an uncle there, or somebody.
Or he's got a really, really good friend that they're like brothers, and it's family.
Yes, sir. My brother worked for me for 28 years.
It's that whole persona of being surrounded by the thought of family and the feeling of family and the love of family.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what makes it.
Well, I'd like to say if you hear my voice here, please don't take anything I've said wrong or bad. I just do what I do, and I believe what I believe, and I feel like as an American I have that right.
Absolutely, you do. Well, Danny, thank you very much. That's Danny Hamilton here with Star Coaches. And again, if you want to reach him, his cell number is 404-925-3893. And his work number is 404-364-0177.
Yes, sir.
Give him a call, find out what's going on. Keep September the 25th in mind, because it's really important that we help this guy out. And I mean, he's done a lot for America. Let's give him a little bit of help back and get him going. Well, thank you for joining us on Case in Point, presented by Paradigm Security Services and in part by Sosby's Garage and Man of Scholarship Fund. Be sure to join us for the live broadcast every Wednesday at 11:30 a.m., every other Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. here on Business RadioX. If you miss the live broadcast, don't worry about it. You can enjoy the show anytime that you would like to by visiting businessradiox.com, selecting the Gwinnett Studio, And, of course, click on Case in Point. This program is also available on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, or wherever you enjoy your favorite podcasts. Please be sure to subscribe to Case in Point, and don't miss any of our future episodes. For my guest, Danny Hamilton, and our producers, Mike and Amanda, I'm Rick Strawn, and remember, at Paradigm Security Services, we cover more than just your assets.